Welcome students. In this second part of alkaloids, now we are going to study general methods for structure determination of alkaloids. When any alkaloid or organic compound is isolated from its natural source, then it is essential to determine its correct structure. Properties of organic compounds are dependent on its structure and functional groups present in it. As alkaloids are physiologically active compounds, and to explain their properties, study of their structure have much more importance. This is morphine, which is isolated from the plant opium. And to explain the properties or physiological activity of morphine, we have to study its structure and functional groups such as phenolic OH, alcoholic OH group, N-methyl group present in the morphine. In this video, we are going to learn general methods for structure determination of alkaloids. Before structural determination, some physical parameters are also determined such as solubility, its physical constant, melting point or boiling point, its stereochemistry, etc. And then structure is determined by different steps. The first step is determination of molecular formula. The second is unsaturation determination. Then the oxygen, its nature is have to be determined. Then nature of nitrogen atom, nature of heterocyclic ring. Then spectral analysis is done, and finally the structure is confirmed by synthesis. Now we go through one by one. The first is molecular formula. To determine molecular formula, qualitative and quantitative analysis is done. And qualitative analysis means detection of elements, and quantitative analysis means estimation of elements present in the compound. From that, empirical formula of the compound is determined. Then molecular weight of the compound is determined by different physical methods and by mass spectrometry. And by knowing the molecular weight and the empirical formula, molecular formula of the compound is determined. This is the first step for structure determination of alkaloid. Then in next step, there is a unsaturation determination, that is presence of double bond. And compound containing double bond shows addition reaction. Therefore, the presence of unsaturation or double bond is determined by addition reaction with bromine, hydrogen, that is hydrogenation, or with haloacids. This is any double bond or ethylenic bond. It shows addition reactions with bromine and we get the dibromo product. Upon hydrogenation, this is a reduction reaction, we get such type of hydrogenated product. This is addition of haloacid. This is addition of haloacid across double bond. These reagents are also used for estimation of double bond. For example, for hydrogenation reaction, if the compound requires one molecule of hydrogen or two atoms of hydrogen, which indicates presence of one double bond in the compound. Thus, by knowing the amount of reagent, we can determine the number of double bonds present in the compound. That is, for one olefinic bond, 1 mole of reagent is required. Then we see nature of oxygen. If alkaloid contains oxygen atom, then it may be in the form of hydroxy group. These are the oxygen containing functional groups: hydroxy group, carbonyl group, carboxylic acid group, methoxy group, amide group, ether group, etc. Ether, ester, etc. And these groups are detected as follows. First we see hydroxy group. For hydroxy compounds, IR spectra gives a broadband near 3000 per centimeter. And the presence of hydroxy group is detected by acetylation or by benzylation reaction. This is compound containing hydroxy group. When it is treated with acetic anhydride, then upon acetylation, acetal derivative is obtained. This is the same reaction, that compound containing OH group, when it is treated with acetyl chloride, we get acetal derivative. When it is treated with benzoyl chloride, benzylation takes place and benzoyl derivative is obtained as the product. These reactions are also used to estimate number of OH groups present in the compound. Suppose any compound, if it gives pentaacetyl derivative, that indicates that compound contains 5 OH groups in the compound. OH groups are estimated like this. Titration with acetal derivative with standard alkali. The acetal derivative of the compound, upon alkaline hydrolysis, it gives the alcohol and salt, and for 1 mole of hydroxy group, 1 mole of NaOH is required. And from that we can determine number of OH groups present in the compound. There is another method, Jereventov active hydrogen method. In that case, compound containing hydroxy group, it is treated with methyl magnesium iodide, Grignard's reagent. Then such type of products are obtained. The methane gas is evolved. And for 1 mole of OH, 1 mole of methane is there. That is, for evolution of 1 mole of methane, it corresponds to 1 mole of hydroxy group. Thus, with the help of that methods, we can estimate number of OH groups present in the compound. But that hydroxy group may be alcoholic or phenolic in nature. First we see presence of phenolic OH group. The phenolic OH group is the group that hydroxy group is attached to, directly attached to aromatic ring. Phenolic OH group is detected like this. Phenolic compound is soluble in NaOH and it gives the color taste, that is violet or green color with FeCl3 solution. This is the detection test for phenolic OH group. Then we see presence of alcoholic OH group. Alcoholic OH group shows the dehydration reaction with concentrated H2SO4 or with phosphorus pentoxide, and they also forms halide with thionyl chloride. This is alcoholic OH group and it forms halide with thionyl chloride. Again, that alcoholic OH groups may be primary, secondary or tertiary, and these alcoholic groups are distinguished by oxidation reaction. Now we see oxidation reactions of alcohols. This is primary alcohol or CH2OH. Upon oxidation, it gives aldehyde with same number of carbon atoms, which on further oxidation, it gives acid having same number of carbon atoms. In case of secondary alcohol, its functional group is CHOH. Upon oxidation, it gives ketone with same number of carbon atoms, which on further oxidation gives an acid having less number of carbon atoms. While tertiary alcohols upon oxidation gives ketone with less number of carbon atoms, and on further oxidation it gives acid having again less number of carbon atoms. Thus primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols are distinguished with the help of oxidation reaction. Again we see primary alcohol, first it gives aldehyde having same number of carbon atoms and then acid having same number of carbon atoms. In case of secondary alcohol, it gives ketone with same number of carbon atoms, and on further oxidation it gives acid having less number of carbon atoms. And in case of tertiary alcohol, it gives ketone and acid which having further less number of carbon atoms. Thus, alcohols are distinguished by oxidation reactions. If secondary alcoholic group is present in the ring, then it gives dicarboxylic acid containing same number of carbon atoms. This is secondary alcoholic group which is present on the ring. Upon oxidation it gives ketone. On further oxidation it gives dicarboxylic acid containing same number of carbon atoms. Then the next group, that is carbonyl group. The presence of carbonyl group, it is detected by following reactions. The first reaction is that it forms oxime with hydroxylamine. This is compound containing carbonyl group, and when it is treated with hydroxylamine, the condensation takes place and we get oxime as the product, oxime derivative. The second reaction is that it forms phenylhydrazone with phenylhydrazine. This is also condensation reaction. With phenylhydrazine it gives phenylhydrazone. And these two reactions indicate that compound contains carbonyl group. But that carbonyl group may be an aldehyde or ketone. An aldehyde and ketone are distinguished by oxidation and reduction reactions. Aldehyde upon oxidation gives acid having same number of carbon atoms, while ketone upon oxidation gives with less number of carbon atoms. Aldehyde upon reduction gives primary alcohol, while ketone upon reduction gives secondary alcohol. These first two reactions are oxidation reactions, and their next two reactions are reduction reactions. Thus, with the help of oxidation and reduction reaction, we can distinguish aldehyde and ketone. Then the next group is carboxylic acid group. These are the oxygen containing functional groups. The carboxylic acid group, it is easily detected by test with sodium bicarbonate. It gives effervescence of carbon dioxide with NaHCO3. This is the chemical reaction, that is carboxylic acid. When it is treated with sodium bicarbonate, there is a evolution of carbon dioxide. And the number of COOH groups can be estimated by titration with standard alkali. This is a simple titration, acid and alkali titration, and 1 mole of COOH corresponds to 1 mole of NaOH. By using that equation, we can determine the number of COOH group present in the compound. There is one another method which also be used to estimate carboxylic acid groups, that is silver salt method. Then we go to the next group, that is methoxy group. The methoxy group, it is detected and estimated by Gisel's method. The method is like this. The methoxy group containing compound, it is treated with hydroiodic acid and the temperature is 399 Kelvin. Then OCH3 group, methoxy group, is converted into methyl iodide, and then it is treated with silver nitrate solution. Then precipitate of silver iodide is obtained, by which the presence of methoxy group in the compound is detected. For estimation, we use the equation 1 mole of methoxy group corresponds to 1 mole of silver iodide. For estimation, known weight of organic compound is treated with hydroiodic acid and methyl iodide form is treated with silver nitrate, and the precipitate of silver iodide form, it is washed filtered, washed and dried, and by knowing the weight of silver iodide, the number of methoxy group in the compound can be determined. This method is known as Giessel's method. Then next group is methylene dioxyl group. This group is detected and estimated by oxidation with acid. This is methylene dioxyl group. When it is treated with acid, first we get formaldehyde and finally get formic acid. And it is estimated by using the equation 1 mole of methylene dioxyl group corresponds to 1 mole of formic. Then we see other oxygen containing groups. These groups are detected and estimated by alkali hydrolysis. This is a ester group. Ester upon alkaline hydrolysis gives salt of acid and alcohol. That is, acid and alcohol are obtained as the products. Amide group upon alkaline hydrolysis gives acid and it evolves ammonia. This is a gamma lactone ring. Gamma lactone upon hydrolysis gives hydroxy acid. And gamma lactam, there is a NH group here, and gamma lactam upon hydrolysis gives amino acids. These are other oxygen containing groups which are detected and estimated by alkali hydrolysis. Then the most important part is nature of nitrogen atom. Alkalides contain nitrogen atom. They are basic in nature. They always contain nitrogen atom. And the nature of nitrogen atom, it may be primary, secondary or tertiary in nature. And that nitrogen atoms are detected by general reactions with nitrous acid, acetyl chloride or methyl iodide. First we see primary amino group. This group less commonly found in alkalides, but it is detected like this. Compound containing primary amino group, when it is treated with nitrous acid, then nitrogen gas is evolved. When primary amino group it is treated with acetyl chloride, we get the diacetyl derivative. That is, any basic compound, if it requires 2 molecules of acetyl chloride to form acetyl derivative, then we say that this is a primary amino group. Then primary amino group requires 3 molecules of methyl iodide to form quaternary ammonium salt. These are the reactions of primary amino group. Remember that primary amino group with nitrous acid evolves nitrogen. It requires 2 molecules of acetyl chloride and forms diacetyl derivative, and primary amine requires 3 molecules of methyl iodide to form a quaternary salt. Then secondary amino group. Secondary amine, when treated with nitrous acid, then we get yellow colored nitroso compound. Secondary amine forms monoacetyl derivative with acetyl chloride. And secondary amine requires 2 molecules of methyl iodide to form a quaternary salt. Always compare these reactions with primary amino. Then presence of tertiary amino group. In case of tertiary amine, it not reacts with nitrous acid and acetyl chloride, but it requires 1 molecule of or 1 mole of methyl iodide to form quaternary salt. This is tertiary amine, and to form quaternary salt, it requires 1 mole of methyl iodide. Then there is a special test for tertiary amines. It gives amine oxide with 30% hydrogen peroxide. Tertiary amine, when treated with hydrogen peroxide, it gives amine oxide. The N-methyl group, it is detected and estimated by Herjigh-Meyer's method. That method is similar to Gisel's method. In that case also, compound containing N-methyl group, it is first treated with hydroiodic acid, but the temperature is different. The temperature required is 573 Kelvin. Then N-methyl group is converted into methyl iodide. And when methyl iodide is treated with silver nitrate, then precipitate of silver iodide is obtained. These are the tests to detect N-methyl group. To estimate N-methyl group, known weight of organic compound containing N-methyl group is taken and then it is treated with hydroiodic acid. N-methyl group is converted into methyl iodide, which then treated with silver nitrate. The precipitate of silver iodide is formed, which is then filtered, washed and dried, and by knowing the weight of silver iodide, we can determine the N-methyl groups present in the compound. Remember that Herjigh-Meyer's method and Gisel's methods, both methods are same. In case of Herjigh-Meyer's method, as temperature is 573 Kelvin, in that case, both methoxy group and N-methyl group are affected by hydroiodic acid, but by difference we can determine the quantity of N-methyl group, that is number of N-methyl groups present in the compound. The equation used is 1 mole of N-methyl group corresponds to 1 mole of silver iodide. Then N-methyl groups can be estimated by distillation with KOH. Formation of methylamine, dimethylamine, trimethylamine indicates 1, 2 or 3 methyl groups attached to nitrogen atom. N-methyl group containing compound, when treated with KOH, we get methylamine as the product. If 2 methyl groups are attached to nitrogen, this is N-dimethyl, then it gives dimethylamine as the product. And if 3 methyl groups are attached to nitrogen, then trimethylamine is obtained as the product. Thus, by knowing the product, that is whether it is a methylamine, dimethylamine or trimethylamine, we can determine the number of methyl groups attached to nitrogen atom. And in case of free amino group, that is NH2 group, when it is treated with KOH, that is on distillation with KOH, ammonia gas is evolved. Then another important part of the structure determination is nature of heterocyclic ring. The nature of heterocyclic ring present in the molecule is determined by degradation methods. And after degradation, heterocyclic ring breaks at carbon-nitrogen bond and it converts into unsaturated hydrocarbon. And by knowing the structure of hydrocarbon form, the nature of heterocyclic ring present in the alkaloid can be determined. There are different degradation methods which are as follows. First is Hofmann's exhaustive methylation. The second is MDAS degradation. The third one is Hone-Brown method. The fourth is reductive degradation. And fifth is the oxidative degradation. These are the 5 different types of degradation methods by which nature of heterocyclic ring present in an alkaloid can be determined. The first most important method is Hofmann's exhaustive methylation. This is most extensively used method. This method involves heterocyclic ring opening with elimination of nitrogen atom. And by knowing the structure of hydrocarbon fraction, the nature of heterocyclic ring in the alkaloid is determined. The method involves following steps. First step is hydrogenation. If heterocyclic ring is unsaturated, then it is completely reduced by catalytic hydrogenation. The second step is methylation. The saturated alkaloid is heated with excess methyl iodide to form quaternary ammonium salt. The third step is hydrolysis. The quaternary salt is heated with moist silver oxide. Then quaternary ammonium hydroxide is formed. Then next step is dehydration. The quaternary hydroxide derivative is heated, then dehydration takes place with beta elimination of hydrogen atom, and the heterocyclic ring breaks at carbon-nitrogen bond. And these four steps are important, and if carbon-nitrogen bond is break from one side, then to break from other side, this process is repeated till nitrogen atom is completely detached from the ring. Remember that steps. The first step is hydrogenation, the second is methylation, the third is hydrolysis, the fourth is dehydration, and if nitrogen is not completely detached, then the first all these four steps are repeated. And then the unsaturated compound form determines the nature of heterocyclic ring in the alpha. The another important point is that Hofmann's degradation method is applicable to heterocyclic rings which contain beta hydrogen atom. That is, for dehydration reaction, there should be beta hydrogen atom, and that method is applicable only the compound which contain beta hydrogen atom to nitrogen. For example, Hofmann's exhaustive methylation of pyridine. Pyridine upon reduction converts into pyperidine, which is a saturated compound. Then it is treated with methyl iodide, that is methylation reaction. After methylation reaction, the quaternary ammonium iodide is formed. That is the quaternary salt. That quaternary salt then treated with moist silver oxide. Then that iodine, it is replaced by hydroxide ion and we get quaternary ammonium hydroxide. That quaternary ammonium hydroxide upon dehydration gives such type of unsaturated product. In that case, that is alpha carbon atom and that is beta carbon atom. In that case, loss of water molecule takes place with beta elimination of hydrogen atom. This is the hydrogen atom at beta position. Then the carbon nitrogen bond, it is break from one side. Then to break from other side, again these steps are repeated. The first is methylation and then it is treated with silver oxide. Then we get quaternary ammonium hydroxide. Methylation and then hydrolysis reaction. Then there is a dehydration reaction. After dehydration, the hydrogen at beta position it is removed and then such type of unsaturated compound is formed. The compound is 1,4-pentadiene. For pyridine, the unsaturated compound formed is 1,4-pentadiene. And nitrogen, it is detached and it eliminated in the form of methylamine. That 1,4-pentadiene, it is a less stable compound. It isomerizes to more stable compound, that is 1,3-pentadiene. And formation of 1,3-pentadiene indicates the presence of 6-membered heterocyclic ring. That is, pyridine, it is a 6-membered heterocyclic ring containing nitrogen. After degradation, the nitrogen it is removed from the ring. Then the unsaturated compound formed contains 5 carbon atoms and 5 carbon plus nitrogen, that indicates it is a 6-membered heterocyclic ring. Thus Hofmann exhaustive methylation, it is useful for the heterocyclic compounds which contain beta hydrogen atom. If there is no beta hydrogen atom, then Hofmann's degradation method is not possible. The next method is Emdes degradation method. When beta hydrogen atom is not available in heterocyclic ring, then this method is useful. In this case, steps are similar to Hofmann's degradation method up to formation of quaternary ammonium iodide. And then if there is no beta hydrogen atom, then in that case the quaternary ammonium iodide, it is reduced by sodium amalgam in HCl. For example, Emdes degradation of isoquinoline. This is a isoquinoline ring. Upon reduction, we get tetrahydroisoquinoline. The hydrogen atoms are added at their 4 positions. We get tetrahydroisoquinoline. In that case, there is a beta hydrogen atom at this position. Therefore, Hofmann degradation is possible. At first, the Hofmann degradation is possible. The first step is methylation. After methylation, the quaternary ammonium iodide is formed, which upon hydrolysis with silver oxide, we get quaternary ammonium hydroxide. Up to this step, it is similar to Hofmann's degradation method. Then upon pyrolysis, that is upon dehydration, the ring is open from one side. There is a breaking of carbon-nitrogen bond. Up to that point, there is a Hofmann degradation method. But there is no beta hydrogen atom for that side. In that case, first is methylation. We get quaternary ammonium iodide. Upon there is a no beta hydrogen atom. Therefore, in case of Emdes degradation, that quaternary salt, it is reduced with sodium in ethanol. Then methyl styrene is obtained as the product, and removal of methyl amine takes place. And formation of that 2-methyl styrene indicates the nitrogen atom is present at position number 2. And this method is applicable to compounds which are not degraded by Hofmann's degradation. The next method is Horn-Brown method. This method is useful for heterocyclic ring containing secondary or tertiary amines. For example, piperidine, which is a secondary amine, when it is treated with benzoyl chloride, the benzoyl derivative is obtained. Then it is treated with phosphorus tribromide. Bromination takes place, the addition of bromine across that carbonyl group takes place, that is bromination reaction. Such type of dibromo product is obtained, which upon vacuum distillation we get 1,5-dibromo pentene with elimination of nitrogen atom. And formation of 1,5-dibromo pentane indicates the presence of 6-membered heterocyclic ring, because this compound contains 5 carbon atoms plus 1 nitrogen, that is, it is a 6-membered heterocyclic ring. Then next is N-methyl piperidine. This is a tertiary amine. In case of tertiary amine, it is treated with cyanogen bromide. Then that quaternary salt is formed, which upon boiling with HBr, such type of product is obtained, which upon hydrolysis, the acid, the cyanide group, it is converted into COOH group after hydrolysis. And then after decarboxylation, there is removal of carbon dioxide, and such type of product is obtained. This is brominated secondary amine. And from the nature of brominated secondary amine, the size of heterocyclic ring can be determined. This is a von Braun method for secondary and tertiary amines. Reductive degradation. In this method, the heterocyclic ring is opened by heating with concentrated hydroiodic acid at 573 Kelvin. This is a pyridine ring which upon reduction converts into pi-pyridine. And when treated with hydroiodic acid, the ring is opened and the product obtained is pentane, and the nitrogen it is removed in the form of ammonia. Formation of pentane indicates presence of 6-membered heterocyclic ring. The next method is oxidative degradation. Oxidative degradation is carried out by using different oxidizing agents such as KMnO4, hydrogen peroxide, ozone, chromic acid, concentrated HNO3, dichromate in presence of H2SO4, etc. Different products are obtained by using different oxidizing agents and also by varying strength of oxidizing agents. For example, ephedrine, upon oxidation with KMnO4, it gives benzoic acid as the product, and it indicates that ephedrine contains benzene ring. Nicotine, it is an alkaloid obtained from tobacco. When it is treated with dichromate, oxidation takes place and nicotinic acid is obtained as the product. And upon oxidation, as nicotinic acid is obtained as the product, it indicates that nicotine contains pyridine ring because nicotinic acid contains pyridine ring. Then next method of structure determination is spectral analysis. With the help of spectral data, we can determine the structure of the compound. And spectral analysis is a very accurate and quick method for structure determination. There are different spectroscopic studies such as ultraviolet, infrared, NMR, CMR, that is nuclear magnetic resonance, carbon magnetic, C13 magnetic resonance, X-ray, mass spectrometry, etc. With the help of that spectroscopic methods, the complete and accurate structure determination can be done. The different methods have different applications. UV spectroscopy gives information about unsaturation. IR spectroscopy detects the functional groups present in the compound. With the help of NMR and CMR, the complete structure determination can be done. And with the help of mass spectrometry, the molecular weight of the compound is determined. Thus, with the help of spectral analysis, the structure can be assigned. Then, the proposed structure, which is from analytical and spectral analysis, that proposed structure of an alkaloid is finally confirmed by synthesis, and that synthesis is done from known compound. That is, by using known structure compound, we synthesize the product of the proposed structure. And if the synthesized compound and the compound which is given to examination, if both are same or whether both compounds have the same properties, then that structure is the correct structure for the compound. Thus, in this video, we see different steps and methods for structure determination of alkaloids. Thank you very much.